not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die. All of us will refuse to let that happen. No one will ever forget my husband's name, and I will make sure of it. It will become stronger, bolder, louder, and greater than ever. My husband's mission will not end, not even for a moment. And one of Charlie's greatest talents was his ability, this phenomenal ability to choose great people to follow him. He could always find the ones who could handle any setback. And it's almost like he knew. He could see it in you. Even when you couldn't see it in yourself, he just knew. He knew you could handle it. You thought you only had 5% left, and he knew you had 15. He knew you were ready to go that extra mile even when you didn't. He always challenged people around him to work harder and to be better. He never gave up. And I love knowing that one of his mottos was never surrender. So I want to tell you that we'll never surrender. We never will. Ever. Ever. Our campus tour this fall will continue. There will be even more tours in the years to come. America Fest here in Phoenix this December will go on. It will be greater than ever. The radio and podcast show that he was so proud of will go on. And in a world filled with chaos, doubt, and uncertainty, my husband's voice will remain. And it will ring out louder and more clearly than ever. And his wisdom will endure. My favorite too, but my husband's favorite word in the English language was earn. He would call all of you to be people of action who earn the future America deserves. So to all of the young people who felt inspired by my husband's faith and hard work, all of you already know what Charlie would want you to do. You know. You know. If you're in high school or if you're in college, go find your local Turning Point USA chapter. Join it. Stay involved. He wants you to make a difference. And you can. You can. The movement's not going anywhere, and it will only grow stronger when you join it. If there isn't a chapter, can't find one, then start one. There is no excuse. You can start one. And as my husband used to say in this room every single day, if you want to get involved, the best way you can do that is going to tpusa.com. That's what he would say every day from this chair. Every single day. I watched his show every day, and he would always say, if you want to get involved, go to tpusa.com. If you're a pastor, join our movement at TPUSA Faith. And if you're a parent, I highly recommend that you come to America Fest in December. Sign up right now for that because we would love to see you. I would love to see you. Charlie would. He'll be there. He'll be there in spirit. Bring your kids, bring your family. But most important of all, if you aren't a member of a church, I beg you to join one. A Bible-believing church. Our battle is not simply a political one. Above all, it is spiritual. It is spiritual. The spiritual warfare is palpable. Charlie loved his Savior with all of his heart, and he wanted every one of you to know him too. He wanted everyone to know that if they confess the Lord Jesus Christ who rose from the dead, then they will be saved. Hear me when I say this, nobody is ever too young to know the gospel. Nobody. Nobody is ever too young to get involved with saving this beautiful country, this country my husband loved and still loves. And nobody is ever too old either. There's no age limit. I know my husband is still here. He's watching over us. I don't remember the last time I slept. I couldn't sleep last night. And Charlie, baby. Charlie, I promise I will never let your legacy die, baby. I won't. I promise I'll make Turning Point USA the biggest thing that this nation has ever seen. I promise. Oh, Charlie, I love you. I love you, baby. Rest in the arms of our Lord as he blankets you with the words I know your heart always strived to hear. Well done, my good and faithful servant. When I got home last night, Gigi, our daughter, just ran into my arms. And I talked to her and she said, Mommy, I missed you. I said, I missed you too, baby. She goes, where's Daddy? What do you tell a 3-year-old? She's 3. I said, baby, Daddy loves you so much. Don't you worry. He's on a work trip with Jesus, so he can afford your blueberry budget. And my goodness, am I so humbled to witness, Charlie, you alongside Jesus right now, doing what you always want to do, baby. Making heaven crowded, right? That's what it's all about. Making heaven crowded. I can't wait to see you again one day. Thank you all again who love my husband, who supported him, who wrote him an email every single day during his radio show. He read all of them. All of them. God bless you all. And may God bless America.
Welcome back to another episode of Clown World Order. I'm Ryan. I'm your host. So, that was Erica's statement. I'm sure maybe some of you people have heard it so far. If not, I suggest you check it out on Charlie Kirk's channel. An emotional statement, and what's even more sick is these leftist people are sending death threats to her and her children. I know she was at least, had Secret Service detail. I'm sure if she's getting death threats, they still have some kind of security with her. But, it's good to hear, though, that she won't give up. I am just hoping that they don't put a Ben Shapiro in her place. Some shill, because Candace Owens recently exposed that she has info that someone's trying to, take Charlie's place, and he may not be the most trustworthy person. So I'm hoping they're smart enough not to go with some kind of shill. I believe Candace said that if the people do it and actually get in Charlie's position and they are a shill, she will release every text message. She will release everything to the public so the public can see exactly what's going on. So, I forgot to play something yesterday. here in Arizona is where Turning Point's headquarters are, and everyone has been, putting flowers, balloons, everything outside of the Turning Point headquarters. And the other day, someone tried to stomp and ruin the memorial thing outside of the headquarters, and he got arrested. But look at the video. The guy was pissed, and he let him have it, which I believe is a good thing. Here it is, right there, getting pissed. And that's what we have to do. Cops take him over. That's what we have to do. We've been too nice to these people that want us to die. So, I'm not saying to go out and cause violence, but if someone comes at you, let them have it. Just the way it is. We've been playing too nice for too long. I saw a clip of Steven Crowder, calling for that we've been nice for too long. Let stuff go. You go to protest. These people spit in our faces. They pour coffee on us, pour water on us, and then we don't do a goddamn thing. So, I believe that we should. I'll play it one more time. It's kind of small, but yeah. But I believe that we should defend ourselves. Someone pours hot coffee, like I've seen videos of Alex Stein getting hot coffee poured on him. You should sock him in the face, Of course, he may get arrested, but it's self-defense, especially something like that. Hot coffee can burn your skin and cause harm to you. So if they are causing harm to you, then you should be able to cause harm to them. But yeah, getting arrested there. And I've also seen videos. I forgot what state it was in. I saw a video where a car was driving through a vigil for Charlie Kirk, and fights broke out and stuff like that, which, they're the ones that are asking for it. When they do that stuff, they are asking for it, and if you noticed when George Floyd got killed, cities were burning. They were, harming cops. They were, burning down cities, burning people's businesses. And then you see when Charlie Kirk gets assassinated, we go out in the street and praise, worship, and go to church. That's the difference right there. We don't burn down cities. We're not calling for violence. But if they want to keep this up, then you have a right to defend yourself. And that is my take on it. Steven Crowder had to make a video to explain his position better. I think he was getting a bunch of backlash over it. But he said, he's not calling for unnecessary violence, but these people terrorize Americans, and then they expect nothing to happen to them, which, I understand his position on it. But yeah, I watched Candace Owen's video yesterday, and it was very interesting. I have a short clip here of her from the video. You should check out her page and watch the whole thing. She goes into a lot of detail about it. So, but yeah, this is just a short clip I found.
You put a shill in Charlie Kirk's chair in Charlie Kirk's company, and you try to tell us to follow that individual, I will be an enemy of you. There will be nothing that can stop me. Okay? And I want you guys to understand, this is not a threat. This is a promise. There will be nothing that can stop me. I will release every single text message. So to those of you who are trying that, I'm seeing the messages, I am telling you to back off right now.
But yeah, you should check out the whole video. She didn't say who, but she said she will give names if they keep trying to get into Charlie's position. She said he earned it, and you can't just come in here and say good things and expect to get in if you're a shill. So my thoughts are maybe Ben Shapiro, because he kind of did the whole college thing too, but Ben Shapiro definitely is a shill. So you should check out her video. I am gonna go to what I've posted on what I posted on X. So, all right. I think I gotta turn. If I have that too loud, it's gonna distort. I thought this video was interesting. Talking about how, a lot of Christians defend the Israel position because it says it in the Bible. And I never thought it made sense, honestly, because Israel was founded, I believe, in the 40s or something like that. Like the country of Israel was founded very recently compared to when the Bible was written. So this guy explains exactly what it is. He explains, exactly what it is they are referring to in the Bible. They are referring to the Israel, there was Israel people that they're referring to in the Bible, not the actual country of Israel. So
Okay, so apparently we got to clear a few things up. Right now, there's an extremely large number of content creators that are blaming Israel for the death of Charlie Kirk, including some Christian content creators. And then you have a whole nother group of content creators who are pointing out the fact that God favors Israel. And they're right, the Bible does say that. However, one major flaw is assuming that the Israel from the Bible and Israel, the state in the Middle East, are one and the same. See, the Israel that we currently know, the state in the Middle East, it was established in 1948. The Israel in the Bible, that wasn't a place, that wasn't a state in the Middle East, that was a type of people, that was a bloodline. Those two Israels are not the same thing. I know a guy named Jacob, but he's not the same Jacob from the Bible. I know a guy named David, and no, he didn't kill Goliath. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the state of Israel over in the Middle East, and more importantly, how it influences America. Israel is currently involved with 7 different wars, and somehow they have convinced America to fund a lot of it. When I say somehow, I'm being sarcastic. Starts with AIPAC, way back under JFK. See, JFK and his brother wanted AIPAC to be registered as a foreign entity, because as a foreign entity, it would demand full transparency for their donations and funding. But instead of that happening, JFK and his brother were both assassinated. And AIPAC, well, they continued to make deals with congressmen and congresswomen. And every member of Congress that works with AIPAC has an AIPAC guy. When it comes time for those Congress members to place their votes, well, they got to talk to their AIPAC guy first. So what do you think happens when it comes time to vote on whether or not they're going to send more money to Israel? The AIPAC guy says yes, so the Congress member says yes. Oh, and by the way, the numbers aren't 100% confirmed, but they say there's about 318 to 380 something Congress members who have an AIPAC guy. America only has 535 congressmen and women to begin with. So at the low end, if there's 318 who are with AIPAC, that's approximately 59%. Starting to understand why I said I'm being sarcastic when I say somehow, and the proof of their influence is everywhere. For example, the president of Israel, Netanyahu, was coming to America to speak. Prior to Netanyahu's speech, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, threatened to arrest anyone that interrupts Netanyahu. So American congressmen and women are being threatened with arrest for interrupting a foreign president while he gives a speech in America? But let's get to the meat of the topic. For the longest time, Charlie was pro-Israel. But recently, he started digging deeper and started questioning Israel. Netanyahu attempted to donate a bunch of money to Turning Point USA to influence Charlie Kirk's content, and Charlie Kirk refused it. And then there's the interview with Ben Shapiro. See, Ben Shapiro is pro-Israel, but Charlie was questioning Israel to Ben Shapiro's face. And then you have Tucker Carlson, who is also questioning Israel. Tucker Carlson with his 25 million followers and Charlie Kirk with his 9 million followers were about to do an interview together where they discuss Israel. Reports say that Charlie was told not to conduct that interview but planned to do so anyways. Other reports say that Charlie spoke directly with Donald Trump about feeling threatened by Israel. Claims say that he was afraid for his life. Then Netanyahu posts a tweet only minutes after Charlie was struck by that bullet. And now more recently, Netanyahu went on live television and read a letter from Charlie, claiming that Charlie was extremely pro-Israel. But Candace Owens isn't letting him get away with it. She says she knows what that letter said and that he extremely misrepresented it on live television. See, when something suspicious happens once, that's an incident. When it happens twice, that's a coincidence. But when it happens 3 or more times, that's a pattern. So, look at the pattern and then tell me, what does your gut tell you?
So, yeah, I thought that was very interesting.
Okay, so apparently we got to clear a few things up. Right now, there's an extremely large number of content creators that are blaming Israel for the death of Charlie Kirk, including some Christian content creators. And then you have a whole nother group of content creators who are pointing out the fact that God favors Israel. And they're right. The Bible does say.
He explains it very well, probably better than I could. He said Netanyahu, he went on the news 24 hours after Charlie Kirk was assassinated in front of the world, and he misinterpreted a letter that Charlie Kirk wrote him, and also Netanyahu, he invited Charlie to Israel, but Candace Owens explains that she was not to Israel, but before she turned and started talking about Israel and other things that mainstream people don't like, she said she was invited somewhere, but it was like a threat, kind of. She said she couldn't speak on the Charlie Kirk situation, but she said her situation, it was more like, this is your last chance. And, so, so she was just upset that Netanyahu misrepresented the letter and said he invited Charlie Kirk to Israel like it was a good thing.
Candace Owens just exposed that Israel's Netanyahu lied about the letter that Charlie Kirk wrote to him. Last night, one day after the tragedy, Netanyahu booked himself a primetime slot on U.S. national television to read a letter from Charlie Kirk about how much Charlie loved Israel. Except that's not what the letter said, according to Candace Owens, who is a very close friend of Charlie Kirk. So now she's coming out and saying Netanyahu needs to release that full letter. Let Charlie speak for himself. Don't put fake words in his mouth. And oh, by the way, why are you lying about about this. You're the leader of a nation who's at war with 7 countries halfway across the world, and you're booking a prime time slot on US TV airwaves to come and lie about Charlie one day after this tragedy? What is going on here? Not to mention, Candace also added that yes, Charlie was at war with his donors over the question of Israel and the war in Iran. So this was really heating up. Things were really bad. Charlie was fearing for his life. And now you got this. What is going on? Do not listen to people who say stop asking questions, because they do not have your best interests at heart. They definitely don't have Charlie's best interests at heart, and they don't want you to find out the truth.
So that was him explaining it a little bit.
Candace Owens just exposed that Israel's Netanyahu lied about the letter that Charlie
being asked Charlie Kirk about declaring Antifa a domestic terrorist organization. So here is that. He said he was not against it. Play that.
Given with all the that's going on with Charlie Kirk's assassination and the left-wing, a lot of left-wing violence going on, do you have plans, and actually this is a great opportunity with all these, do you plan on designating Antifa finally a domestic terror organization?
Well, it's something I would do, yeah. If I have support from the people back here, I think we'd start with Pam, I think. But I would, if you give me, I would do that 100%. And others also, by the way. But Antifa is terrible.
Are there other groups that you can think of?
There are other groups, yeah. There are other groups. We have some pretty radical groups, and they got away with murder. And also, I've been speaking to the Attorney General about bringing RICO against some of the people that you've been reading about that have been putting up millions and millions of dollars for agitation. These aren't protests. These are crimes, what they're doing, where they're throwing bricks at cars of ICE and Border Patrol. And
given with all the that's going on with Charlie Kirk's assassination and the left-wing...
yeah, that's that. Trump saying he's not against it, saying there's some other organizations that he may need to classify as domestic terrorists. And the funny thing is, the left are saying, oh, I thought you're supposed to be freedom of speech. But freedom of speech doesn't incite violence. You can't say, oh, you Republicans, you conservatives, you deserve to be shot in front of the world. You deserve this, you deserve that, and, you know, that, I don't believe that's protected speech. You know, I don't think you can do that to people and have it be okay, because that is threats, that is condoning violence and everything. But yeah, I agree with Candace Owens, kind of like on the stream yesterday that I was doing, where I said some things don't add up, and Candace Owens talked about that. She said a lot of things in the official narrative don't add up, but as far as Israel having anything to do with it and all that, she couldn't speak on because we don't have any evidence of it. But we need the truth, because we know how these public assassinations are. They keep things from us. They don't tell us everything. There's usually more to the story. And I've heard from parents that had, like, sons, you know, or whatever, and the FBI or the CIA go after them to target them, and they actually train them how to use firearms and all that. It just seems the story just doesn't add up. And Netanyahu coming on the news, you know, acting like him and Charlie Kirk are best friends when Charlie Kirk was starting to question things that Israel was doing, just seems a little fishy to me. But we definitely need answers. I doubt we're gonna get some, but we need answers. And follow me if you haven't followed me, and follow my X account, follow YouTube, follow everything so I can get the message out. We are Charlie now. We have to do this. We cannot let them silence us. And I am gonna be doing some in-person stuff soon. So get ready for that. But we need to stand up and not let them silence us. That is what they want. If they do that, they win. So, I think we need to get to the bottom of this. Candace Owens actually is doing a very good job at that. So yeah, I think that is where we stand. And we need answers. I don't trust the FBI. I don't trust the CIA. I think they are liars. They've always been liars. They don't tell us everything. They give us false narratives. And we need answers. Just because Kash Patel is in the FBI doesn't mean I automatically trust them. Why would I automatically trust the FBI, who we've never trusted for years, just because Kash Patel is in the FBI? So I think they are hiding things, and we need answers. We cannot just blindly believe what we are told, because they have lied for us for years. I mean, look at everything in history they've lied about. They lie about everything. And some of the narrative doesn't make sense. You're going to tell me that the shooter, Tyler Robinson, shoots Charlie Kirk in front of the whole world. He breaks down the gun. And it's not a quick breakdown. It takes a minute. You gotta break down the shit. And after he breaks down the gun, he gets off the roof. Once he gets off the roof, he's running, trying not to get caught. He's getting out of there. He goes in the woods. He changes clothes sometime. Once he gets down, I think I'll just change clothes. Gets in the woods, and then he puts together the rifle again. Tell me how that makes sense. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. You're on the run. You shoot somebody at a college campus in a public place. You break down the rifle before you get off the roof. You get off the roof, go in the woods, change your clothes, put together the rifle. It doesn't make sense. If you broke down the rifle, you would discard the rifle as is. You wouldn't put it back together. They think we are stupid. That's what they think. They think we are dumb, and they think we will believe anything just because it's Trump's FBI. I don't believe anything. I've had my issues with Trump, because no one will ever buy me or my opinions. And tell me, I found out recently, so tell me how this makes sense. On September 10th, around the time that Charlie Kirk is assassinated in front of the world, they vote to not release the Epstein files. I saw that the other day. They vote not to release the files. Tell me how that makes sense. It doesn't. And it was like a 49-51 vote, so it barely got blocked. And the Republicans were the ones that blocked it. It doesn't make sense. Because they knew we were shouting, we need to know, who's involved with Epstein. We need answers on that. So what do? They use a distraction. Bam. The biggest conservative influencer is shot and killed in front of the world while we vote to block the release of the files. That is BS. And we should not stand for it. You know, I thought it was a joke to begin with. You know, when Trump got in office, which is why I stopped following politics until Charlie Kirk got assassinated. Because once Trump was in office, guess what he did? He released the files to conservative influencers online. They had big photo ops at the White House. Oh yeah, it's a party, guys. We're releasing the files. Oh yeah, this is what you wanted. You know, take pictures with us with these binders. And then they release it on X and on social media, and nothing but redacted, blacked out pages. Where all the names are, they were just blacked out. It was a joke. And Trump should be ashamed of himself for doing something like that. That was a publicity stunt, and that was a joke. You know, I'm not saying Trump is guilty of anything, but that was an absolute joke. You know, if anything, maybe Trump knows people that are in the files and he doesn't want to release because he knows people. I don't know. That is speculation, but, you know, I thought it was a joke. Oh, we're releasing the files, guys. Oh, bam, blacked out pages. Ha! We gotcha. We gotcha, guys. You like April Fools. You know. And then the day of the assassination, they vote to block the release of the Epstein files. The Republicans voted against it. They were the deciding votes, and it got blocked 51-49. Tell me if that's a coincidence. At some point, coincidences are enough, you know. They're just enough. At some point, we have to say enough is enough. No matter who you are, Republican, Democrat, you're just pulling our leg and you're laughing while you do it. You know, during COVID, oh yeah, 6 feet, guys, a virus can't travel 6 feet. Oh yeah, you know, the idiots are gonna believe that. They're gonna believe a virus can't travel 6 feet. You know, what a joke. Our government's a joke. Our government's been a joke. And we need to take back our government. We have to get out in the streets. We have to talk to people like Charlie Kirk did. And that's what we have to do, guys. I mean, you know, no government's gonna save us. You know, I knew that. I voted for Trump twice, but I had issues with him after he promoted the deadly vaccines. I had issues with him and the Fauci ouchies. I'm gonna re-upload it on YouTube. I gotta be careful. But yeah, so Fauci ouchie, he was for, you know, people keep pushing back. Now he wants to find out if Fauci ouchie is bad. Well, we know it's bad, Trump. We've been telling you for years that it's bad. You just don't listen. You know? So, I mean, some of it's a joke. Our government's a joke. The FBI should be shut down. The CIA should be shut down. That's why I originally wanted Vivek Ramaswamy in office because he was talking about shutting down the CIA, shutting down the FBI, shutting down the three-letter agencies, and Trump wasn't. So, until Vivek dropped out of the race, I was going to vote for him just because I believe he would have been a better candidate. But, we got what we got. And I've been a Trump supporter, so don't come at me. We're on the same side. I've been a Trump supporter. I, voted for him twice. I helped cure ballots in Arizona for Turning Point. I went to 2 rallies, I believe. I've been a Trump supporter, but Vivek talked about shutting down the 3-letter agencies, and he was in the Trump admin, and then he wasn't. So I thought that was very weird too. I was wondering why he would step down from that. I thought that was a little strange. And then one last thing I am going to talk about today. I can't find a good video anymore of someone explaining it, but since we're on the conspiracy theory train right now, the other day I saw a video of a guy explaining it, and it was kind of grainy, so it may not be true, but there's been a lot of talk about the bodyguards behind Charlie Kirk. The one guy does signal with his hat, and then the other guy does something with his sleeve, and then bam, the gun goes off and he's shot. But there was a video where you could see after the guy did the thing with the hat, it was a side angle, kind of a backside angle of Charlie Kirk, showing the guys, that were behind him that people thought were weird doing signals. And there was someone in the crowd, it looked like a gun. A handgun, a pistol, but he brought up the gun after one of the signals, and then you could see the recoil. It was like the exact same time as you heard the shot, you see a recoil, and then Charlie Kirk gets hit. So I don't know. I thought it was weird, and I tried looking for the videos to show you guys, and I couldn't find it. I found some, but it went off. I saw the guy with the gun, but it went off when he was shot, so it was harder to show you. The videos I've seen with people explaining it were a lot better, because they go into detail. So I thought that was weird. I don't buy the official narrative. We should question them on the official narrative, and just don't buy into it. We've hated the 3-letter agencies forever, so why are we gonna start loving them now? We question them about JFK. We question them about other assassinations and other shady things they've done. So why wouldn't they do it again? Just because Kash Patel's in there? Something just doesn't sit right about the whole situation. Something just doesn't, it doesn't sit right. Because Tyler Robinson had the same clothes on that he had on. And it was 33 hours later, they said, when he turned himself in. And he had the same exact clothes on from 33 hours later when he turned himself in, when his dad drove him down, to surrender. He had the same exact clothes on. Who would do that? You don't shower? You don't change your clothes? You dirty boy. Jeez, you know? So, something doesn't seem right. Something seems off. But I will keep you updated. Please follow me wherever you can. I do appreciate it. I appreciate support. So, you know, I'm going to get better at doing these. I got decent when I did them a couple years ago. I'm getting back into it. So, but yeah, follow me. We need people to get popular that don't care about dying. And I don't care about dying. So, you know, follow me, show support, like, whatever you can. It is much appreciated. So, with that, I will be tuning out, and I'll always tell you the truth about the clown world that we live in. Have a good day.